Hi, this is Cindy with Cindy's Got Questions. In a few months, we will be voting here in the Cedro-Woolley School District area. We'll be voting for or against. Personally, I'm against the EPO and capital levy, Proposition 1 and 2. And it's not that I don't think the school should have money to operate. That's not it at all. Keep in mind that we are given approximately $20,000 per student, and over 80% of that is spent on salaries and benefits. Think about that, 80%. So the EPO levy. The EPO levy is supposed to go to fund things that we can't afford, like extra nurses, extra maintenance, extra all sorts of things. But as I've gone through last year's report on expenditures for the EPO levy, 75%, which was about over $10 million, was entered in their ledgers as year-end subfund entry. That's it. Everything else is real specific. It will say specifically, for instance, such and such employee had additional hours, it's regular payroll. On this date, it was $97.53. Another one might say something like, here is an employee, the teacher base, regular payroll on this date, $1,261.12. Another one would be for, for FICA or all sorts of things, for travel reimbursement, and it's very specific, except for this year-end subfund entry, which isn't specific, and it's not just a few $1,000s, it's $10 million, and it's 75% of what the school district was given from your taxes, my taxes, from our taxes last year. And then we get to the capital levy. And I had questions about money that was transferred from the general fund to the capital levy, and it was a lot of money. And I'm told that it was for salaries. Well, capital levy cannot be spent on salaries unless it's an employee that's working on a capital levy project. Fair enough. So I wanted a report of what that was. I was given a report, and some things just don't add up, and I still have more questions for Mr. Brett Greenwood. And I like to do things on email and not meet in person because I'm sure he is smarter than me, and I won't understand what he's saying. So I like it explained in an email so that I can actually look at it. So last October, when I was frustrated and was asking for reports, I finally got it at the beginning of December. It said on the surface, he understood my frustration. He says, on the surface, it seemed like we would have this kind of detailed information. However, we don't track employee work at that level of detail. Our staff are hired to perform the full range of duties outlined in their job descriptions. Yes, that's true, in their job descriptions. But when you have projects that are to be charged to something else besides the general fund, just as in any other corporation, a large corporation, law firms do it. I worked in the transportation industry in downtown Los Angeles in the late 80s, and law firms and accounting firms had lawyers and accountants that would work on different projects, and different people would be billed, different clients would be billed, because at the end of whatever week or 2 week, whatever the period was, they would have to fill out what the code was for what they were working on. So for instance, if you had a maintenance guy that instead of doing his regular duties, he was going to help paint a building, and what they would do is they would say you charge it to this code, but apparently we don't do that. And then it seems like Brett just says, I have here an invoice to Cedar Woolley School District, payable to Cedar Woolley School District. And as you could see, if you could see real closely, it's just moving money around without any description. Budget saving plan, moving money from here to there, and no description. And then I was finally, because I kind of kept up on it, given some reports that are adding up, but then there's still almost $1 million that doesn't add up. This is what you get. This is what you get. We have a school district that thinks it can just spend money without being transparent, without being accountable to you, and they need to be. And in fact, in the RCWs, don't tell me I put it away, it specifically states in 28A 400.030 that the superintendent's duties include, in Section 3, keep accurate and detailed accounts of all receipts and expenditures of school money. Accurate and detailed account of all receipts and expenditures of school money. Well, the levy money they get from us is school money. I personally want them to come up with a plan of transparency before we, the taxpayers, do give them any money. And I won't be voting yes on either levy. The school district needs to know that it needs to figure out how to fix the foundations of the building and their accounting, fix the foundations, and build up from there. They need to stop just pouring money in and saying it's for the kids, it's for the kids, when we have over 80% of the kids in our school district do not read or do math at grade level. And as I've said before, I've heard from parents whose children have graduated reading and doing math at 6th grade level. We're doing a disservice to the students when we just keep throwing money to the situation without actually doing anything for the situation. Well, Merry Christmas. I know that wasn't a Christmas present. But, you're accountable for your budgets, right? You're accountable for your Christmas budget and what you can spend and how you can spend it. And our school district just has decided that they don't need to. They don't need to be accountable to you or me. And they do. So, ask questions. We won't have any school board meetings till after the New Year's. I'll get back to you on the date, and you can also go to the district website and see what that date is. Until then, I'll talk to you later. And always have questions. Oh, there go the dogs.